Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I'm going to talk to you about an article I read. Apparently there's a new case that came from California. I'll put a link to the article in the description for the video, but what really caught my attention was, one, this had to do with marijuana, and two, this is the whole issue of stopping a car and searching a car, which as a former prosecutor and defense lawyer I found fascinating. And so this has to do with, I guess, apparently a car got stopped. It appears it was a lousy stop, and what I mean by that was that there was no reason to stop the car from a Fourth Amendment perspective, which protects against unreasonable search and seizures. But apparently, what had happened was they stopped this car, and I guess they found loose marijuana on the floor of the car. And so, according to, I guess, the argument that was made by the state, they figured that was not only, a reason to get everybody out of the car and potentially arrest them, but to search the vehicle. And, what the court basically said was, well, it's a kind of a bit like having an open beer in the car. It's an open container violation, as opposed to if the beer was closed, well, as long as you're of age, not an issue. I guess because marijuana is legal in California for recreational purposes, I guess the idea being that, you could have marijuana and have it, in a sealed container versus, it's open, right? It's on the floor of the car or wherever this was. And it says here, the case at issue was out of Sacramento, where police officers stopped the car and searched it, finding 0.36 grams of marijuana crumbs, I don't know how they measured all these crumbs, on the floorboards of the back seat, along with a tray on which to roll joints. The driver hadn't been driving erratically, her registration and license were unblemished, and she had no warrants out. What this means is the cops stopped her for no reason. And it sounds like, even when I was prosecuted, and the defense lawyer would challenge the stop, in other words, why the police officer stopped the car, because obviously if it's an unlawful stop, everything else is what they call fruit of the poisonous tree, which means if they stop you illegally, search the car, it doesn't matter what they find. It all goes out. The baby with the bathwater, whoosh, gone. And you had to have at least some indication there was a problem, right? Even if it wasn't a quote, a traffic violation, there had to be perhaps somebody was weaving within the lane. And so, the officers would argue, well, I wasn't sure, was there a medical issue? Was there, were they driving drunk? So we had to so we had a reason to stop the car. Apparently here, they didn't have any issue. There was nothing wrong with the driving. They just stopped him. They probably figured they'd stop her. Maybe there was a pretextual reason. Maybe there was some, they didn't like the color of skin of the person who stopped. I don't know. It's tough to tell. It's not in here. But it says here, there was no evidence of paraphernalia such as matches, lighters, rolling papers, blunts, or vaporizers that could facilitate the marijuana's consumption. The Supreme Court, meaning the California Supreme Court, also found that the officers did not have probable cause to search the car in the first place. The police had argued that the driver's nervousness and possession of a rolling tray, which they only determined after they stopped, was sufficient to search the car, an argument the court rejected. So, anyway, if you enjoy constitutional analysis, if you enjoy debating, about the Fourth Amendment and unreasonable search and seizure, somewhat interesting. You always get, interesting, rulings from California. I thought this was fascinating, just as a former criminal defense lawyer and prosecutor. I'll share it with you. Let me know what you think. But to me, the bigger issue is the marijuana. And I'm not telling people how to live their lives. I'm just telling you that it's a problem, especially with younger people. And it's just, it adds fuel to the fire when you're dealing with somebody who has a mental health issue. And so if you're a family who is dealing with this, who has a loved one who is using marijuana and they're paranoid and delusional and potentially schizophrenic, we need to have a conversation about how we can help you with this. If you have any comments or questions, if you're pro-marijuana, anti-marijuana, I was accused recently of being a party pooper because I guess they perceive me as anti-marijuana. Fine, if you want to call me a party pooper, knock yourself out. But I'm interested to hear what you have to say. If there's an issue that your family's dealing with, post it. I'll make a video for you, because if it's affecting you, it's potentially affecting other families too. And I want to make sure that everybody who's watching these videos gets the information that they need. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up. It does help with the YouTube algorithm, so I'm told. And if you want more of this content, please subscribe to the channel. And thank you for tuning in. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.